nice to be here, man.
Rob, I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hear toodles.
Toodles!
Way more often than I think anybody else in my circle. And as you said, you're a Michigander. So I got to ask you, how does it feel to be sitting here in enemy territory, right across the street from
yep,
the?
I know.
I won't.
No. Listen, I am a big sports nut. Go Lions! Cleveland fans notwithstanding. And I did attend the school up north. But I'll tell you what, as a sports fan, and I won't belabor this, but that rivalry is the coolest in sports.
Oh, right.
Man, oh man, honestly, that Ohio State, Michigan. But I remember when Woody Hayes smacked people on the sidelines, and Bo Schembechler was throwing stuff out on the field. I'm the oldest guy in this room, which is really freaky.
So if we were to participate in a little friendly rivalry, like if I say OH.
Go Blue. Yeah. Or should I say, Go Blue? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, buddy. You better be careful walking out, son. Yeah.
Rivalry withstanding, how have these fine folks of Columbus been treated?
Oh, man. Well, I've been here several times before. My niece was here yesterday. She's a Buckeye, and it's great. This really is, I was saying to the folks driving us around yesterday, this is one of those biggest little city places, like Reno, Nevada, they call the biggest little city in the world, you know. But it's got all the charm that I remember growing up in this part of the world, affectionately called the Rust Belt a little further north. But this city is great, like a lot of college towns. Right. You have just an incredible group of really talented, very artsy attitude here, really talented people. And also you have the cool vibe of the college, and right. That always keeps everything young. But it's got charming restaurants and music and hotels.
Murals everywhere.
Murals,
you talk about
I love that stuff. And the airport is really lovely. It's a great town. It's really great. And it's kind of, how far are you guys from Cleveland? 2 hours, not that far. What, 100 miles, something like that? Yeah, so Columbus.
Is anybody here from Cleveland?
Yeah.
All right, well, next year, GalaxyCon will be bringing Nightmare to Cleveland.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we will be coming back in December here for GalaxyCon. So it's obviously a community that treats us very well, so we thank you all.
It is. No, that's the thing about these conventions. I've been around a long time, and I would go to San Diego Comic-Con virtually every year for 20 years in a row, but until probably 10 years ago, these events became so much more ubiquitous. It was, now they're springing up like zits on a 12-year-old, man. And so they're everywhere. Abu Dhabi, Columbus, Detroit, Sydney, Melbourne, South Africa, you name it. And all it serves to do to me in the most wonderful way is remind me of the power of all this stuff. It just brings joy to so many people, and I can't get enough of it. There's definitely a self-serving aspect to this, because I love the utter inclusivity of the whole con world.
Right.
You know, it's like this microcosm of what I'd like life to be. There are people, God bless them, who attend these events who may be socially awkward and have trouble buying a Slurpee on their own. Right. But here, no one is looked at sideways. Everybody can do their thing. If you want to dress up like Batman, God bless you. Yeah, and I love that. I just love about it's so inclusive. And so I'm really grateful. As long as I can keep doing these, I want to. Because I go home from every one of these events exhausted from saying thank you. Who has a job like that?
Right.
So, thank you. My God, it's just the greatest.
Yes, absolutely. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people at these shows, and they get to see a certain aspect of their fans. But with you, it might be a double-edged sword because it might show your age, but you have truly inspired multiple generations. So to be able to see people from, be like, oh my gosh, well, I love gummy bears and Smurfs and this, and then I love Ninja Turtles and Darkwing, and then their children are coming up, my children are coming up, who love Toodles.
You are preaching to the choir, and that's exactly right. I'm 68. I moved to California when I was 22 from Flint to ply my trade, and like a lot of other people in my business, often what happens is you move from Columbus or Flint or wherever, and you put yourself in a position to get lucky, so to speak. I had no intention. I loved animation, but in my youth, there were a handful of people, Mel Blanc and Gene Foray, and a couple, maybe 10 people who did it all. So when I moved to LA, my ostensible reason was to do music and TV, and I was doing all that. But like anything else, something comes along, you audition, you go, oh man, this is the gig. Nobody cares what I look like at 25 or 28, and now they still don't care what I look like. But the upshot of all of it is this, is to come out and find that sometimes 3 generations of people and their children and grandchildren who continue to get so much joy from these, and it's, look, I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better. However, this, and I mean writ large, all this stuff, nostalgia and the power of joy, is not about money. It's not about ratings. It's not about merchandise. It is about a pure, undeniable, unstoppable connection of joy to everything. I don't care if it's Batman or Superman or Ninja Turtles. It is so powerful. And the stories all of us hear from nice folks like you who come up and tell us, often through tears, the extent to which Yakko or Batman or Wonder Woman connected with them when their parents were going through an acrimonious divorce, or my mom had, stage 4 ovarian cancer. Her treatment was brutal, but man, she watched Pinky and the Brain every day. Are you kidding me? That's why I tell people, look, man, we have to charge something because it offsets the cost to bring everybody. It's very expensive to bring all these folks here, right? But man, I tell people, you ain't got to buy a thing. Just come and say hi. I love, my lines aren't that long, but they seem that way because I talk to everybody. You'd never believe that I talk too much, yeah. But it's self-serving because I get way more out of it than anybody, because it is this impossible validation of something that I chose to do because it made my soul happy. I couldn't not do it. And then to find out that the end result is just happy? Right. My God. Don't tell anybody I won the lottery. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Speaking of self-serving, so we have a microphone right there.
Fire away.
As folks are starting to line up, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. One, as I mentioned, Emmy Award. Where do you keep your Emmy Award?
I keep it in a case that I've made room for my 6 Oscars I have yet to win. No, I think it's in my. I don't mean to sound. It sounds very laissez-faire, like my Emmy. Well, I've got. But I do. I'll tell you what. I'm very grateful, and I don't want to give it back. But the Emmy and $6 will get you a Frappuccino. Right. I love it. It's not like when you win it for being on Friends or you win an Oscar because your price goes up. I actually had producers a year or so after I won whom I'd see at a party. Rob, dude, I haven't seen you since you won your Emmy. Congratulations, you really deserve it. Hey, thanks very much. Man, I'm sorry, we can't afford you anymore. And I said, what are you talking about? Well, we called your agent and they were, wait, what? What? My price doesn't go up. So I called my agent and said, I don't know who did this, but I'm a working actor. And if you're turning down work because I need more money, that's great, but it's not about the Emmy. So don't you dare turn out a job. So anyway, yeah. Hi.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Toby. T-O-B-Y.
Hi, Toby. Hi.
I just wanted to ask you, as we all know who executive produced Animaniacs, Steven Spielberg. What was it like working with him and Gilbert Gottfried?
Oh my gosh, talk about different sides of the showbiz coin. Well, firstly, Mr. Spielberg is a remarkably wonderful person. We know he's the king of Hollywood, and he should be. His talent and his vision is, that isn't even up for question. I have several great Steven Spielberg stories. I've had the pleasure of working with him, I think, half a dozen projects now. But the important thing to remember about people like Mr. Spielberg or others who have everything and could behave any way they want. They got billions of dollars, they got a pile of Oscars, everyone in the world knows who they are. They are celebrated for valid reasons, yet they choose to be decent. And Mr. Spielberg is a perfect example. When we did the Animaniacs launch party back in 1993, right at the foot of the water tower in Burbank, huge party, it was just miraculous. And Mr. Spielberg came down with the fellow who was the head of the studios in those days, Bob Daly, and they came down to the Warner Brothers lot. And now I'm sure that somebody says to Steven when they're walking, okay, this is Maurice LaMarche, and he's the oh yeah, sure, because he knows everybody, right? But he came up, Rob, oh my God, the first thing I saw was that Countries of the World song. Good God, that was really great work. It's so great to see you. And my son was with me, who was 8 at the time. And this is how classy he is. Without questioning, he says, is this your boy? I said, it is. He goes, do you mind if we get a picture? Now, what that does immediately is disarm everyone, because he knows everybody wants a picture with Steven Spielberg. But when he comes down to work with the people whom he hires and trusts them to do their job, he knows that for that 2 hours, he's theirs. He is ours to get pictures, shake hands. Everybody wants that. And so he took the onus off me to ask. Right. What a classy move.
Yes.
Always nice little gifts, things like that. Great job. He's just a delightful fellow. And so when you're young and you get to see how people behave who have every right in the public's mind to behave any way they want, it's freaking Steven Spielberg. 100%. And he chooses to be decent, and the sweet kid with a Super 8 movie camera from Phoenix. He's that guy. Right. Yeah, I'd go to the mat for Mr. Spielberg, and I speak for a lot of us in Hollywood. Mr. Gottfried, God rest his soul. I was on Gilbert's podcast twice. He could not have been nicer. I never had the pleasure of meeting him in person, but he burned pretty bright for quite a while. He was a great guy, and his act is this guy. That's his act, like that. He was very bright, very composed, great sense of humor, obviously, and was kind enough to have me on his podcast a couple of times. And he actually, in the last iteration of Ninja Turtles on which I worked in 2012, he was Krang.
I actually saw that. That's actually how I didn't even realize it was the same guy from Aladdin until I looked him up on IMDb.
How about that? Yeah, he was been around a long time. Thanks for your question, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and another thing, you're welcome for this community welcoming you. We treat you all like kings.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you so much.
It has butt cannons.
Thank you. Okay. Hey,
Hello.
man, nice to see you again.
How you doing, Mr. Paul? Oop.
Man,
How you doing, Mr.
I'm breathing.
Paulsen?
I'm not in jail, but the day's not over yet. So far, so good.
Very true. My question for you is, with your extensive background of voice acting, singing, the long list of talents that you have, one of my favorite things, I think, is the reading of your audiobook.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any plans in the future of doing any other audiobooks or readings like that?
Thank you very much. This gentleman is speaking about, I wrote a book called Voice Lessons about kind of my career and my experience with stage 3 throat cancer a couple of years ago. Surprise! Not toe cancer, not hair cancer. Trust me, the twisted irony of that was not lost on me. But thank you very much for bringing that up. No, I have no plans to do any more audiobooks unless maybe my own. I don't really know what I would write about, and it's not false modesty. I'm good at my job, but until I had throat cancer, I had a number of wonderful fans who said, "Oh, dude, you should write a book. And honestly, the last thing the world needs is another celebrity bio or autobio from a non-celebrity. And I'm not, again, I'm grateful that people celebrate me, but I don't draw them and I don't write them. And it takes a couple hundred people to make me good at my job. However, when a guy who works with his voice gets throat cancer, you go, oh, now you got something. But I enjoyed doing the audiobook, plus my son wrote the foreword, which I thought was, I'm just so proud of that. And
And the characters got to show up a little bit. I thought that was fun.
but I don't know, maybe I'll do another one. I'll tell you what, I could write a book about all my experiences at the conventions. I could. I really could. People keep in touch with me. When I was going through all my treatment, people would send me, I don't know how, they'd find out and they would send me photos of yours truly and their son or daughter who had, passed away 1,000,000 years ago, and pictures of us in the hospital or pictures taking them on a tour of Warner Brothers studio. And this is you and Jordy at the commissary, and you got to meet George Clooney and all of that. And, I look at this picture and I'm going to send it to you. You'll never know what this meant. Never know what this meant to them? Right. Are you kidding me? They lost their freaking child. Right. And so, I'll tell you what, I'll spiff you 20%. You gave me a great idea for a book. But
well, and not only books that you would write, but even doing the readings for other authors' audiobooks.
Well, thank you. I don't really pursue it that much, only because I don't know that world. I know that there are quite a few people who read audiobooks, and they're very good at it. It can be a little bit tedious, as you can imagine, but I've really never thought of that. I'm having trouble keeping the plate spinning just with my gig, but that's very kind of you. Did you get the tattoos done?
I did.
I can't wait to see
I will be swinging by a little bit later to show those.
Great.
Fantastic.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thanks, pal.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Rob. I'm Jansen. I met you
Oh,
a few
yeah. Hi,
days ago.
Jansen. You're
Yeah.
the same name as my son's best friend. Nice to see you. You're the
Yeah,
only other
super.
Jansen I've met.
Absolutely. I've definitely never met anybody else either. What was something that you didn't expect, was like a challenge you didn't expect to face when you got into voice acting?
What I didn't expect, I think the extent to which I could keep working. Although the first shows I did were G.I. Joe and Transformers, and immediately upon walking into the studio, oh my God, that's a guy from Bob Newhart. Oh my God, I recognize him from Here's Lucy. Oh my God. All these shows I grew up watching, and these were actors as old as my parents, and they were all being Decepticons or whatever the hell, G.I. Joe, and they were going to work dressed like you or dressed like me and having the time of their lives. It was the purest form of play acting when you're a kid and you say, okay, I'm going to be the monster, you be the monster killer, and I'll put on a cape and all that. It's literally like that with a bunch of grown-ups playing. But really, show business isn't, that's what it does. You all dress up and play. And that is very freeing, because when you're a non-celebrity, you are automatically, understandably, it's not a problem, it's just the way it goes, you're typed. Like we're looking for an average-looking Caucasian guy who could be the brother of the guy who's the lead. Great. And you walk in and there are 50 people in there who could look like the job, right? Then you get a chance to read. But in animation, you're only limited by your talent, and you're judged on your chops and your ability to do dialects, do characters, embody characters, sing in character. And for a guy whose Bibles when I was growing up were Mad Magazine and Famous Monsters of Filmland, that's the perfect gig. So it took me about a year to tell my agent, you know what? I don't care if you send me out for St. Elsewhere anymore. I don't need Hill Street Blues. I like doing this. Awesome. And I made the right choice. So thanks. Hey, man, you're a Buckeye. Are you Bucky the Buckeye that's the dot on the Ohio on the marching thing? Yeah.
I'll keep that silent.
Okay, fair enough.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Ricky, and my question is kind of in relation to sort of your expansive career as voice acting. I'm wondering, it's like you said earlier, back in the earlier days of animation, there were maybe like 10 or less than a dozen people who did all the work. But now, it's fair to say there are many, many more voice actors that are out there. So and if you don't want to say this or play favorites, that's fine. But are there any voice actors or actresses in today's day and age in the pool of voice acting who you are impressed by or who you think nailed a role really well? Anything like that?
Great question. And the answer, of course, is oh yes. Look, on my phone, man, I can call up the Joker. I can call up Bart. I can call up Wesley from Princess Bride. I can call up the Brain. I can call up Fry from Futurama. I can call up Mickey frickin' Mouse, you know? And they're all lovely people. The best part about this, everybody whom you enjoy, John DiMaggio, Billy West, Tress MacNeille, Tara Strong, right down the line, everybody, are not only supremely gifted, but to a man and woman, they are the nicest people in the world. I think because most of the time, our gig, hi April, you look great. Most of the time, this gig is about happiness and joy and stuff, or superheroes, or the good guy winning, and everybody loves that. Also, remember, nobody shoves a gun in anyone's mouth to be an actor. If you choose to do this, this is on you, good and bad. But you really can't complain too much when you're broke, again, because nobody forced you to do that. Certainly, in most cases, not your parents. And everybody. And then when new people come along, some of them are here. Max Middleman, yeah. We have the same agent. He's, I don't know, 30 years younger than I. Really talented kid. Eric Bauza, who is now Bugs and Daffy, I think. Great guy. And came from Toronto 5 years ago, and now he's doing great. All of them. Corey Burton, Jeff Bennett, Tress. I've known Tress MacNeille since she was a cocktail waitress in Marina Del Rey, and she still has my son's 6-month-old baby picture on her refrigerator. He's 40. And now Tress is the single most prolific female voice talent in the history of Hollywood. I mean, she's done, I don't know, 600 episodes of The Simpsons alone. She's Principal Skinner's mother and the Crazy Cat Lady, and of course she's Dot, and she's Babs Bunny, and she's stupid talented. So the short, very succinct answer to your question is yes, and they not only continue to amaze me, but they make me better. There's a great phrase, and it's true, that goes, a high tide raises all boats. And I'm a much higher boat as a result of all these people. If you can't get better at your gig around those people, then you should try something else, because they either intimidate you or they make you better, because they're so smart and they're fearless. Billy West uses that phrase a lot, because with voice acting, if people say, hey, can you do a blah, blah, blah? Sure. Whether you can or not, you just jump in and try it. But also, at the same moment, Billy would say, you know, I can do that really well, but the guy that can really do it better is Rob. So if it doesn't work with me, don't save yourself the time and just call Rob. And that is something you rarely see on camera. It does not mean they're mean people. They're not. But there's a different vibe to being an on-camera person, where you have to make sure that your hair looks great and your skin looks great, and all the voice talent people are handsome and beautiful too, don't get me wrong. But oh my God, I've gained 5 pounds. Your agent says, you know, you're 37. Maybe you should think about getting 37. And so that is not part of the equation. Right. And so if somebody says, yeah, the best guy for the job is Jeff Bennett, then they should call Jeff Bennett.
Right.
And then it comes back to us anyway, because they say, hey, man, you saved my ass by getting Jeff Bennett. I want you on my show because you're really helping me. So it is a definitely love relationship. And I truly hope you get to meet as many of these people as possible, because they are the salt of the earth, and they will stay there all day and do Zoidberg. Billy will talk to you as Zoidberg for an hour, and it's fantastic. Well, thank you for asking.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Wait, I'm very sorry. This is from Victor. OH.
Hey, man. Well done, pal.
Yeah, he made a request of us at the last panel he moderated at. So.
That's great. Thank you. Hi.
So we have between 5 and 10 minutes left, so we will try to get through as many
I'm
as
so
possible.
sorry, you guys. This is on me. My bad.
My name's Erica. I, oddly enough, met you 2 years ago at Fanboy Expo.
Was I an asshole?
No, you were
Thank
so
you.
kind. Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you. You got me on a good day.
Thank you. My question is, what's your honest opinion on the Animaniacs 2020 reboot? We know that with reboots and remakes and going on these days, and you can't beat the classics. But like, what's your honest opinion on the reboot? And though it wasn't the same as Animaniacs with like the whole cast, it's like Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. What did it feel kind of nice to we have you guys kind of reprise your role as the Warners and Pinky and the Brain?
Kind of nice. Oh my God! It was remarkable. Anytime you get to revisit a show like Animaniacs or Pinky and the Brain with Tress and Jess and Maurice and yours truly, and Steven Spielberg, and it's Steven who makes the call and says, "Hey, are you guys? Do you want to do me? Do I want to? Yeah." And it was Mr. Spielberg who made the call. Wow. And you know that the show was the reboot was pitched at 4 different places: Apple, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. And Mr. Spielberg went to every pitch, just like he would if they were doing Jurassic Park 8.
Yeah.
And he had Tress, Jess, Mo, and I, we had our 8x10s, and he took them and said, just so you know, another great Steven Spielberg story, just so you know, Rob, Tress, Jess, and Maurice are doing the show. We're not going to replace the Brain with Liam Neeson and Pinky with Russell Brand. We're not going to do that. This is not about a celebrity doing the voice of the talking chicken. This is about authenticity. And so it was Steven's call that we did that. It was unbelievably spectacular to do it again. Obviously, we missed being with the whole crew from 30 plus years ago, but it was an updated show. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot were supposed to be self-aware. They knew that we were 30 years later. And even in the new, the reboot theme song, they address that. They say, the first half of the song is, it's time for Animaniacs, all that stuff. Then the second verse is gender balanced, pronoun neutral, and ethnically diverse. The trolls all say we're so passé, but we did meta first. Genius. And right off the bat, the first episode, the studio lady says, on this tablet is all the knowledge of mankind, meaning an apple, right?
And Yakko takes it, wow, all the history of the world in one easy-to-swallow tablet? That's good for me. And
he swallows it, he starts going, Queen Bey, internet. And I didn't know who Queen Bey was. I knew who Beyonce was, but I saw Queen B, who's Queen B-E-Y? Is it Bey? Yeah, it's Beyonce. Oh, God. So we had writers, and there's one episode where Pinky has to say, Leroy Jenkins! I had no idea. I thought maybe Leroy was somebody's father, and they just wanted to get him in the show. So somebody came in and showed me something on YouTube, which was also not around when we did
Of course.
And I thought, okay, now it makes sense. So they were very hip on being culturally relevant. And I really applaud them. And I think it turned out pretty well. There were, I completely understand people say, oh, there's no Slappy, there's no Good Feathers. And that was a drag. But I have to say, by and large, when we did press, virtually every member of the press started out every interview after they've watched it saying, the fact that as soon as the characters opened their mouths, we thought, oh my God, it's really Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. It was everything after there was gravy. And it really was well written. But honestly, anytime you work with Steven Spielberg, you got to work hard to screw it up. So thank you. Did you like it?
Well, I did what came to the beginning. The anime parody version was good. And though it's not as a classic, I gotta admit, you guys have more effort when it comes to a reboot than any other reboot I've seen in the past years.
Well, and you know, you make a great point, because they did a thing like that with Powerpuff Girls. They did a Powerpuff Girls reboot, and I remember talking to Tara Strong and E.G. Daly, and I just assumed they were going to do it. And then Tara said, no, they replaced us, and it was a disaster.
Oh, yeah.
it has nothing to do with the actors, but you can't. That was a pretty powerful franchise too, and it was a mistake. So even if the show Animaniacs didn't do that well in the reboot, they at least got people's nostalgia cranking. But I have to say that by and large, I think most people liked it. There were a couple of really clever songs that I got to sing, and anytime you have the King of Hollywood saying, "Hey, how do you feel about doing this again?" Oh my God, it's pretty cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hello.
I'm rambling. Let's keep going. I'm sorry. Go and put on your pointy hat. Yeah. Now you can ask the question. Okay.
I'm Sep, and I was just wondering, is there any project that, like, overall you feel like you're kind of the happiest with, or like maybe tied?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, every check on every show I've ever worked on cleared. So right away, you're already killing it. I have to say it's pretty difficult not to look at Ninja Turtles twice, and I'm still working here with my dear friends and Yakko. I'm sorry, all the turtles plus April. They're all here. We're all healthy. We're all freaking still alive. We started working on that show 37 years ago, and look, again, I can't say it enough. The amount of unbridled joy as a result of that crazy show. It's pretty difficult not to say, oh, that's a moment. But then to get to do Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain again twice with that music as a singer, impossible. So, like I said earlier, I've won the lottery. It's very difficult to choose. And for some reason, people really like Carl too. And I know what the hell's wrong with you people. Yeah, you think it's weird? You should see it from my side, bro. See, that's my job. Watch this. Narf! It's remarkable. Point! Yeah, I don't even... that's where I have no trouble talking. That's where I get speechless. But thank you. I'm very, very happy with the way things have so far turned out.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You're welcome. Okay, pal. I know we got one more.
We have 1 minute left.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I'll keep it quick, Mr. Paulsen. You've done several different characters over your career, long tenured career. If 2 characters of your repertoire had to meet, which 2 would be best friends?
Probably Pinky and Carl. Because they're both.
I was
really
going to preface that Raphael and Donatello don't count, they're brothers.
Well, Raphael's a smartass. Donatello's kind of get a bit of a toot, but he's a genius. Pinky and Carl are both pretty much in the same. They're just below. They're above planaria and below spore mold on the intellectual scale.
My thoughts exactly.
Both of them. So it said, Pinky said, "Hey, Dad, Carl, your girlfriend, Mrs. Neutron, is really hot. Stay away, Pinky, or I'll beat you like a rented mule, asshole." People love to hear cartoon characters swear. So.
This will be quick. I am also from Michigan. I went to U of M Dearborn.
Yay!
Yesterday, I believe you gave me some pretty awesome advice for, like getting into voiceover. Do you think you could go over it for anyone else here?
That's a very good question. I'll make it very brief. Thank you. Yes, to those of you who might be interested a little bit in doing voice acting for fun and profit or on your own, firstly, do it because you want to do it and it makes you happy. None of us, and I guarantee you, nobody who does this work, in any case, started out as an actor or performer thinking, I'm going to get rich. We did it because it just made us happy. There are 2 really good resources. One is very simply called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, and it's put together by D. Bradley Baker, who's just stupid talented. And I have had a podcast for years called Talkin' Tunes with Rob Paulsen, which is most of which are available on Spotify. And then there are a bunch of like 90 on-camera versions, I think, that you can watch on the Nerdist website. But they're all free, and we all interview and talk about everybody whom I've mentioned and people whom I've not. And they give us chapter and verse about how they all did what they do. But the bottom line is it's about acting. So act, do community theater, sing at church, improv, all great stuff.
Jim Cummings likes to say,
Jim Cummings.
Little V, big A.
Exactly. Jimmy's right. I didn't mention Jimmy. Talk about Jim. Little V,
big A.
Voice acting. And that's why you love... And Jimmy is so freaking talented, but he did a character in Princess and the Frog called Ray the Firefly, in which he got to sing a pile of Randy Newman songs. And this guy's from Youngstown. He's from right down the road. And he did the best Cajun dialect I have ever heard in my life. The guy's from Youngstown. And I've known Jim for 35 years, and he just continues to kill it. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that is our time. I know. Sorry.
Thank you, Rob.
You will be going to your table now, right after. You will be going.
Actually, I'm going to be going to my table in a bit. I have to go down first, and I have to sign a bunch of mail-in stuff, and then I'll be at my table.
You'll be at your table. So if you have questions, again, Rob
Thanks,
invites
you
you up. So one more time, please give it up for Rob
Thank you.
Paulsen.